All right, let's take a break from the basketball talk. We're going to talk some lacrosse now as we bring on Pat March, offensive coordinator for the Orange. Obviously, a big one, Coach. Thanks so much for coming on. Hopkins Week. I know that you weren't necessarily a Syracuse guy growing up, but you are a Syracuse guy now, so I'm sure you know all about this rivalry. What does Hopkins Week mean to these two programs?
Yeah, I think it's one of the biggest rivalries in the sport of lacrosse. And a lot of national championship games have been played between these two teams. So this is my fifth game on this side of it, the Syracuse versus Hopkins rivalry. And I think it does mean a little bit more to the guys for sure.
I was going to ask you that. Coaches always say, they all count the same. The next game is always the most important. But, we have a lot of lacrosse alums on this show. Rick Beardsley in particular comes on. Steve Panarelli was on recently. And, those guys, I know for those guys, Hopkins means more. And you just addressed it right there. I mean, do you have to talk to the guys this week about managing emotions and about, not being, a little bit too amped up when they take the field against these guys?
Yeah, I think it's important. I think the reminders this week obviously focused on our game plan and what we're doing. And no matter who we're playing, we're trying to put our best lacrosse out there. So just being as disciplined as possible and consistently executing and those things, no matter who we're playing. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, it does mean a little bit more when you're playing Hopkins.
All right, I'm going to ask you for a little bit of a scouting report on Hopkins later on in this interview, but let's talk, I guess, big picture. 6 games in, 4-2 at this point. You're averaging better than 15 goals per game, which is top 10 in the country. How would you kind of assess and evaluate the overall performance of the offense to date?
Yeah, I think it's been really good at some points, and then not great at other points. I think for us offensively, we have the ability to score 6, 7, 8, 9 goals in a row on possessions, which not a lot of teams in the country do that. But there are times, and I think we need to handle it a little bit better when things aren't going as well for us, or, a goalie makes 3 or 4 saves in a row on possessions, and just understanding when to control the game and when not to control the game, and not having to take every opportunity that's there for you, because we do create a lot of opportunities for ourselves.
After the Harvard game, Coach Gate in his post-game press conference was talking about the need for a lot of guys to get involved. That's when you guys are at your best. Instead of just 4 or 5 guys doing all the scoring, you guys are at your best when it's 7 or 8 guys finding the back of the net or getting involved with assists. Can you speak to that a little bit? Just the depth that you have on offense and how, as Coach Gate said, that you guys are at your best when it's not just 1 or 2 guys that the opponent can lock in on. It's everybody doing their job.
Yeah, I think the best thing about our offense is we have a lot of guys that do different things and play different roles. And those roles may change from game to game. It may change from half to half. One game we have a guy who could be an initiator for our offense, and the next game that guy's finishing plays on the backside. So I think the importance of our guys being able to do what the team needs in that situation, I think, is huge. And we do have an extreme amount of depth and a lot of players with a lot of experience too.
You mentioned a lot of players with a lot of experience playing together as well, right? A lot of experience playing at Syracuse. How much did that help you right out the gate in terms of, it's not like you were installing, right, early in the season. It was almost like you were perfecting, I would imagine, during the preseason and through the first couple of games. How much of an advantage is that for you to have so many pieces back from last year's offense?
I think it's huge. I think it's, to be honest with you, the biggest advantage is when you have adversity, you can have those honest conversations because you've built relationships with each other over the years. So being able to say, hey, that's not a good shot right now, or hey, we need to do this. And being able to take criticism and trust that everybody is kind of on the same page and we all want the same goal, which is to be successful, I think is huge. And I think that's where those relationships come into play and the experience together.
Preseason number 2, and then you lose back-to-back games. You were just touching on adversity, and you faced some adversity, losing to Maryland and Harvard, both really good teams. You lose to them back-to-back. People have to keep in mind, still February, right, when you lost those games. Now we're into March. It's a long season. How is the team, and how did the team, I guess, handle those back-to-back losses? You've played since then. How do they handle those back-to-back losses, and how are they doing, I guess, mentally with that, knowing that there were high expectations and already being 4-2?
Yeah, I think, national championships aren't lost in February. So, and playoff games aren't lost in February. So we just have to put your head down and work. you got to continue and consistently bring everything every day and make sure you're working and doing what you can. We're fixing, any issues that may have arisen in a previous game in practice and working together to maybe put some new stuff in and make us more dangerous, at least from the offensive side of the field, and it just continue to work. And I think the guys have done that.
Any injury updates, Coach, that you could pass along in particular? I know Finn Thompson is somebody that everybody's wondering about and whether or not he'll play and how he's doing since the last game. Do you have any sort of update on Finn and his status?
No injury updates for me.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Fair enough. I thought I would ask. Coach Gade has made it a priority to play the most difficult schedule possible, right? We see that. We know that the conference schedule is difficult. You guys go out of conference, you play, everyone, anywhere, anytime. How much does that help as you guys, go through the season and get ready for what really matters, as you said, and that's chasing a national title in the month of May?
Yeah, I think if you want to be the best, you got to play the best team. So, throughout the course of the season, you're learning stuff about yourselves. You're learning what you're good at, maybe what you're not great at, what you need to work on, and playing better teams exposes those types of things. And adding adversity or putting your team against adversity is only going to help you when it's really adverse situations and your season could be over in the playoffs. So I think, playing a tough schedule is only going to help us come May.
All right, let's circle back to this game tomorrow now. Hopkins coming here, a top 10 team. You know that they're obviously very talented. What can you tell us about this matchup, especially in your offense against their defense?
Yeah, I think I'll speak overall general at first. Hopkins is a team that does a very good job in all the in-between stuff. They clear the ball extremely well. They ride pretty well, and they face off well. So they're going to be able to tip the possession battle into their favor against a lot of teams that they play. So we got to be smart. We can't have unforced turnovers, no shot possessions on the offensive end of the ball where we're not getting shots because we've turned the ball over. And then I think we got to try and create as many advantages as we can. They're a very disciplined defense. They play their scheme and they do an extremely good job of it. They play probably a little more methodical on offense than we do, or we have in the past. So it's going to be a challenge. They're a good squad.
It's a 2:00 start on Sunday afternoon, and I know that Coach Gade has been talking about trying to pack the place and get it like it used to be inside the dome for Syracuse and Hopkins. Can you speak to the fan support that that you've seen the last handful of years since being here, and how much it means to you guys when people show up and show out for a big game like that?
Yeah, I think it's huge. There's no place like Syracuse when it comes to fans and support and having people in the stadium or in the dome and in the seats. I think that we joke all the time around the office that I think our average attendance probably wouldn't fit in some of the newer lacrosse stadiums that are built around the country. There'd be people standing outside wanting to get in. So we expect, I think we will have a big crowd. I hope that we do. I think it'll be a great game. It's been a great game the last 4 times I've been a part of it. And it should be a great battle and an exciting and fun lacrosse game to watch.
And again, if you have not seen this team in person yet, this is the perfect one to go to. 2:00 start Sunday afternoon, Cuse and Hopkins. Pat, thanks so much for the time. We love having you on. Best of luck this weekend, and best of luck throughout the season. We hope to chat with you again soon.
Anytime, guys. Appreciate seeing you.
All right, Pat March, offensive coordinator for the Orange. And with that, we'll hit a timeout. We're going to get to our weekly SOS house call on the other side as we wrap up hour number 1 next on ESPN Radio.